Welcome to the fantastic Moorlands Farm. This place is run by my really good mate Grant Albert. We've driven from South Wales all the way up here just because this place is fishing so well at the minute, and I want to show you a method. It's a blast from the past, but you know what they say, old is gold. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. Now the method feeder is responsible for catching tens of thousands of fish a year, no doubt. But there's a place where combining a method feeder with another tactic and bringing them together can be absolutely deadly. Now, fishing a method with micros is a fantastic way of catching fish, obviously, but there's a time and place where you need hard pellets around your feeder, whether the venue's got a lot of smaller fish in it that can be a nuisance, or the fish get a taste for those hard pellets after a long sort of summer of feeding on micros all year round. Sometimes just something a little bit different can catch you out. So let me show you a little trick that they used to do many moons ago, but today I'm bringing it back for this video and I'm going to show you exactly how effective this is. Here they are. We've got two different styles here. I've got some PVA bags there, all tied up. Got some fishery 4 and 6mm pellets in those bags, but I've got a feeder that's been adapted to suit it. There's my method, but you can see there I've got a little bit of pole elastic on there. Now I'm going to show you on the box how we load this feeder, why you'd want to fish it, where to fish it, and more importantly, I just want to show you how good this old tactic is on commercial fisheries all over the country, whether you're fishing for big F1s or even better, some big carp. Let's crack on and show you how to use this. Right, so we're on the box. Now let's have a closer look at this feeder. Now, this is just a small Guru 24-gram feeder, but you might be able to see there from the back, I've actually drilled out, there you are, you can see it lovely there. I've drilled out 2 holes with that, just with a power drill. I think that's a 4mm drill bit. I've just whizzed through that twice, central, and I've got some black elastic in there. Now, it's tied quite tight, so the idea of this is you put your PVA bag underneath that band, and then the pressure of that band pulling down like pops the bag, so you get a nice like little spread like that of hard pellets all around your feeder. And obviously with a method you've got a 3 or a 4 inch hook length on it, so your little hook bit is sat in amongst that little scattering of hard pellets. Now where we're going to fish a method today, you can't loose feed hard pellets over there, so there's no other way to get a little trap of hard pellets around your hook bit. So that's where this feeder really plays really key. What you can do if you want to is cut all the fins and everything off the feeder. I actually quite like that little plateau on the top there, and it adds just a little bit more tension to snap that bag open. So there's the feeder, modified, takes literally 10 seconds, and I'm useless with power tools, and if I can do that, a half decent job, anybody can do it. The next part, obviously, is the PVA bags. Now, you'll have to be careful with this, like, these are hard work to fish in the rain. Luckily today, the rain's cleared up, we've got an absolutely fantastic afternoon here. So there's my bags, full of fishery pellets. Now what I've done with these, to get the measurements right so they're same every time, I'm not guessing it, I've got a medium Guru pole pot, and then I just simply scoop that full of pellets, pour it into my mesh, which is the speed mesh. That's really nice for those bigger pellets, and they make a nice size little morsel of a bag just to go on that feeder. So let me just show you how I put it on. Just stretch the elastic, pop your little bag underneath the band, and there we go. So that's what we're left with. You'll have your little hook length off the back, 3 or 4 inch, that'll pop, those pellets will just go pop and all around your little feeder, nice little spread. Your little hook bit will be off the back. Any carp coming in, sucking up them pellets, picks yours up, wallop it away. And I'm going to show you exactly how effective this is, especially where you can't get hard pellets to past that pinging line into the middle of the lake or to a far bank. This can be absolutely deadly. Something they don't see much anymore, but there's definitely a place for it in any kind of commercial fishing scenario. Look at that, absolute peach. Setup. So as with any kind of method feeder fishing, this setup is literally no different apart from our little elastic band. So rod wise, I've got a 4000 Aventus on there, £10 reel line again, just nice, durable. We're going to hopefully be catching some nice carp today. I've got my favourite little N-gauge Pro, that's a 10 foot, and they're free running feeder, a little change bead. I've just got a little, probably got about 3.5 inch of twizzle there at the bottom of my rig. That just sits inside the feeder just like that, and then when it slides away you can obviously see it there. That's just for a little bit of extra durability. And I've gone for, this time, a little 3-inch hook length. Now, normally I fish 4s on a method, but like a little 3-inch hook length, because of the pop of those pellets, they're not, they're not going to land inches and inches away. I just want to try and get my little hook bit as close to that little area as possible. So if venues allow a 3-inch hook length, go for that. If it's 4, you're going to have to bite the bullet and fish 4, but an inch isn't here or there in fishing terms anyway. I've got some 022 end gauge there, my favourite 10 QM1 and a little bait band. So that's the setup, super simple. Now, this kind of fishing, as with anything, isn't just a chuck it and chance it. There's loads of little different things you can do, get those little extra couple of pulls. So to start with, we're going to fish on a clip. But what's nice with fishing hard pellets, exactly like on the pole, you can just start a new line, tap a few pellets in and start catching again. It's the same with this. If you've caught a few off a spot and you think, the bottom gets wrecked, if it's soft and it's fizzing, you can't catch them, you can just chuck left or right, come shorter, chuck past, just start again. That's the beauty of hard pellets. So in the band, I've got a little selection here of different style pellets. I've got some light ones, I've got some 6-mils, I've got some 8-mils, I've got some scretins, I've got some coppins, just a little mix, just to ring the changes as hook baits for pellets. I've also got my favourite pink wafters, wouldn't go anywhere without them if I'm fishing a method feeder. And also, a great little trick, I wouldn't start with this necessarily, but to make an impact, a little bit of smart liquid definitely makes an impact. I wouldn't start with it, I'd hold it back, keep it in my locker for when I think, right, bites are tailing off, I want to give them another burst of life. A little blob of that on your mesh is PVA friendly, so you can put it on your mesh. You've got a little fine nozzle there, so I just poke it in the bag, squeeze all the gunk into the bag, chuck it in, and trust me, this stuff is not a gimmick. This catches fish. So that's our little setup. Super simple. It's basically method feeder fishing with a band on your feeder and putting hard pellets into it. So time's getting on a little bit in the day now. Sun's lovely behind me there, you can see. Let's have a couple of chucks in. Let me just show you how effective this is, because when this goes off, it's absolutely fantastic. Right, let's get fishing then. So to start with, I'm probably chucking, I don't know, maybe 30 metres, 28 metres. So it's out of range where you can like loose feed hard pellets with a sling, and get them on a dinner plate. You're never ever going to get that scenario with a catapult. So that's where this little feeder comes into play. I know there's a bit of a bar running along here as well. So it's a brilliant area to target in your peg straight away. Now I'm going to start on a line clip. I'm just going to chuck to my clip. We may catch a couple off that clip. We may end up staying there all day, but the chances are we'll probably catch a few on one spot. But then by just moving and starting from scratch, just like you would do on the pole if you fish with hard pellets, you can get another good run, and that's what's really nice about this. Like hard pellets are such an instant bait. You use them on a pole for a quick start, why wouldn't you use them on a feeder? So I'm going to start with one of my little pellets out of this pot. I'm probably going to go for, there's a nice dark 8mm there. I'm going to slip him in the band. So that's on. And now, obviously, using PVA bags, you want a towel, make sure your hands and feeder are dry. So just before you put them on, just tap that, just get the most of the water off there. Pick out a nice bag. She is. It's a little bit of a fiddle, but when you get into the routine of doing it, it's not that hard. So there you are, and I'm not going to tuck my hook. I could hook the bag there if I wanted to, but I'm just going to leave this hanging out to start. I've got a nice little marker there on the far bank. So a nice chuck, and that's in. So I'm going to sink my line. I know this is the same as any other kind of feeder fishing. The fish is actually just swirled by the bag there. So I'm going to put that rod on the rest. Timing your bites is so important when feeder fishing. We done that bomb video at Larford last week, and all the bites were sort of, I'd say, in around 90 seconds to 3 minutes. Now obviously there's no point leaving in there for 10 minutes if you're having bites as quick as that, so this is exactly the same. So I've just got my little stopwatch there. I'll just keep an eye on that. And I'm expecting a pretty quick response on this because it's hard pellets, and hard pellets are one of the best ways to start your match or session. How many times in a match do you start? Just tap a few hard pellets in on the pole and catch a carp straight away. This will be no different. So we'll have a 5-minute chuck just to see, but I expect the bite a lot quicker than that if I'm honest. Oh, that one was on. So we've just had a technical error. We had a mother of all downpours, so I just had to stop fishing, and that is literally my first chuck back, and that's been in there. As I predicted, not very long, 2.5 minutes, and that was a bite from hell. Almost lost the rod there on that. I was too busy nosing in down the edge, watching a carp feeding by these reeds to my right, and it's just absolutely hammered round. And that is the beauty of fishing hard pellets, just such a quick response. Oh, this fish is not happy either, whatever it is. That just went off like an absolute prom dress, that did. That rod was off for the bee of the bang. So let's get this one in. And what I've noticed, oh, look at that big old F, that's a serious F1. And these are the kind of fish that love crunching down those hard pellets. That's a lovely fish, that one. Let's just, oh yeah, he's hooked. Well, he was hooked perfectly, right in the middle of the bottom lip. Let's just hold him up here so you can have a look. Nice start, first chuck in. Nice chunky Moorlands Farm F1. Absolute cracker. So, I just want to keep on that spot for now. Now, because bites are so quick on it, you'll be foolish to come off it. So, straight away, have your towel to hand, just pat everything down. Like that. Doesn't take long. And let's pick out a nice pellet. That bite was absolutely insane on that time then. So I've got a nice dark Screttinsy kind of 8mm on there. So I'll just get my fingers underneath that elastic ready. Open him up. Pick out a nice little bag. Slide him in. You know, it doesn't take long to load. Probably quicker to load than what it would be if you were fishing like a method with micros with your pellet mold and stuff. So we drop him straight back in on the money again. God, that was an absolutely unreal bite, that was. And again, it's just a case of keep an eye on the time. But that's like, what was that, like a 3-minute bite in and around there, between 2.5 and 3.5 minutes. So if the next bite is as quick as that, I'll just have 4-minute chucks. Don't see the point of leaving it in there anymore. So that's set. Not like right up tight on the feeder. Just got like a little bit of a bend in the tip there. And it's just a case of settling in. Now that's nice about feeder fishing. Hands are free. That's where you want either have your bags in a plastic bag like that or like a zip top bag. Because if you get a downpour like we are just now, which come from nowhere and was absolutely torrential, if that gets in your bags, you're finished. Your day is over. So just keep them nicely stored. Have your towel with you. And everything's quite easy then. So whilst that is out there fishing itself, gives me the opportunity to put on a bayonet. Just give me an option of putting like a wafter on, a change bait. You know, just because we've caught one on pellets doesn't mean that is the be all and end all. Oh, what happened? I know, I feel like that fish there got away with that. Just the way it sort of went forward and come back really quick. A lot of the time, that's a fish who's picked your hook bait up and hasn't actually got hooked. And there's a big explosion of bubbles there now as well. So that fish, I'm pretty sure that fish has had that hook bait in his mouth and the hook hasn't really caught hold of him, which is not ideal, but there's no doubt that from watching underwater and stuff like that, we definitely get mugged off every now and then. But that was a quick bite. That was probably a 90-second bite. There's a massive amount of fizzing has just popped up there as well. So let's try and drop this right in the middle of that fizzing. Oh yes. Great shot. Can't believe that wasn't on. So let's just tighten up. Oh look, there's fish on there now. His liners on there like mad. So maybe this is where we want a bit more of a standout. So I'm going to whip out a little 6mm out of here. Oh yeah, there's fish there now. That tip is bouncing up and down like zebedee there. So just take that slack up. Just cut my hook length down. Because there's a few fish there now, maybe a little standout hook bait will be the boy. So if we don't get one this chuck, I'm going to pop on a little pink wafter. Looks nice. So I've got my little bayonet there, look, little 6mm. Just push him in. Just use your nail just to get him in. But what you want to do, like what I've got there, you want to leave the eye of the bayonet sticking out, so we can move on that little loop that is tied in there like that. So when the hook bait will sit on the bottom, and your little wafter will be just up above him like that. So we've got there a nice little visual hook bait, just in case we need it. Just keep an eye on that time. So we'll settle in this chuck, see what happens. But we've had 2 chucks, caught a big F1, and we definitely just got mugged off by one then. So far, a good response. Oh, there we go. No, that's mad. I just seen a massive eruption of bubbles there. Just as I picked up into that fish, like I seen a big fizz, and then the tip just went like that. Picked up into it and went in again. You know, that's 3 quick bites. You know, that's been in there probably not 2 minutes. And we're off again. And at the minute, oh, that's a big F1. At the minute, it feels like we're building the peg up, but it might change. Like I said earlier on, you might catch a few off your initial spot. Oh, look at him going. Why do those F1s always do that? You might catch a few off your initial spot and you might have to move. Oh, yes. Clonking great F1s in here. There we go. Another one in the pan. Okay, when one just never ever coming out. Look at that. They're absolute crackers. But this is a lovely bit of fishing so far. And we'll go back in with one of those dark 8mm. So we've had a pickup every chuck in, which I've got to be honest, I half expected. I expected the first couple of chucks to be really good. We might have to change things as we go along. We've definitely got that smart liquid to fall back on before we move spots. That's if we need to move spots. So she's mounted there. Dry that hand off. But I'm pretty sure you can tell already how effective fishing like this is, because this is something they just don't see out in the middle of the lake. They just do not see little piles of hard pellets out there. Look at that. Straight down the same hole, that is. Right, that's been in there fishing for a little while now, and I've had indications, but it's fizzing like you can't believe out there. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to come 2 turns closer to me, because I feel like there's obviously fish there, but there is so much fizzing, they're probably having a job finding my hook bait. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to come back like that far and start again on a fresh little bit of bottom. So before I wind in, I'll just go 1, 2. That'll just bring me back away from all that commotion and just start afresh, just my side. What I'm also going to do, just to try, because that's what it's all about, I'm going to put a little 6mm on a pale 6mm, and then just tap that feeder down, open the elastic ready, and slide a new one in. I just feel like there's so much going on there now with that fizzing. There's probably like debris all blown up off the bottom, and they probably can't even see anything there. So let's try that in there. A fresh little bit of ground. See if that makes a change, because if this goes round quick and then we catch another one after it, it's probably going to be a case of like just dotting that little feeder around. Like catch a few, when it like gets loads of fizz in, you can't catch one, just move that far, left or right, this side or further, and just keep starting again. And that's what's really good about fishing hard pellets like this. You can just keep starting new spots all the time because it's such an instant way of catching them with those hard pellets. Up. Yes. There you are, first chuck, just over 2 minutes. Brand new little bit of ground, and we're straight into a nook. And that's, it's not, feeder fishing or method feeder fishing, bomb fishing. It's not just chucking and chance of fishing. It's little bits like that that'll just get you a couple of those extra pulls. We could have sat there on that spot that was fizzing like mad, not getting picked up. But just by moving 2 turns of the reel closer to us, we've got a lovely clean bite, first chuck in, and we're away again. This feels like a carp, this one. Yeah, that's got to be a carp, that, hasn't it? That's a Moorlands. No, it's another huge F1. That is a serious F1, that. And that was on that little 6mm pellet. Whoop, buddies. Come on then. Out from there. There we go. Oh no, it is a carp. Good job I wasn't on a quiz there. There we are. Absolute cracking Moorlands Farm Common there. That's nice, that is. Ho-ho. So that was a nice little bit of fishing. Let's see if you can pinch another one off that spot, or if you're going to have to move again. So there she is, look. It's a lovely little setup, isn't it? Just got the pellet hanging out. You could hook the bag if you wanted to, but I'm quite happy just to leave it hanging out the back of the feeder like that. So we're in on a new spot. Nigh on that time. But bites are super quick. We haven't had any, everything's been within 3.5 minutes or under. So let's see what happens there before we have to make a little change again. So we've had a couple of quick fish now off that new spot, but I almost feel like the same scenario has happened again, where there's fish on me, but I'm not getting picked up. So it's time for a change. It's time for a new spot. I feel like a new hook bait. I think we'll go in this time with a wafter, and I will also give that bag a little burst of the smart stuff. So let's buzz this back in. I feel like we should have got picked up by now. So we'll wind that back quickly. And what I'll do, I'm on the same clip. I'll just chuck slightly to the left this time. So let's take that pellet hook bait off. I could band a wafter here if I wanted to, but I do like fishing them on that little bayonet. I just think that's a really nice presentation. So we'll clip him on there. We'll pick out a nice bag, put in underneath my little band. I made a mess of that one. Try that again, Mike, is it? There we go. And now this time, I'm just going to push that nozzle in and just get some smart liquid. You can see it pumping into the bag there. Not loads. Give another little jab. So let's see if that'll just get us a tug. Free that off there. So what I'll do, I'll just go slightly to the left on a little bit of new ground again. So that's in there. So let's see if a new hook bait and a dollop of smart liquid will get us another pull. And this is what this game is all about. Like, if it's not happening down that same hole, if you're not getting dragged in every time, chuck it around a little bit. Definitely doesn't hurt. Try different hook baits and try smart liquids or different flavoured liquids. So let's set that there. Quick look at the time so we know where we are. And once I'm letting that fish, I'll change the pellet in the band. Back to where we caught a couple of fish on earlier on. So that's ready to go if we need it as well. Oh, there we go. Look at them fish bow waving out from there, look. Brand new spot, first chuck in, wallop, she's round. And that one's a carp, I think. Some fish on the spot there now. Everywhere you seem to chuck the bag, it starts fizzing, but just goes to show they want to eat those hard pellets. And the nice thing is, we're catching like the right fish. We're not getting mithered by them smaller silvers or, you know, fish we don't really want to catch. We want to catch, you know, proper carp and F1s, and this is definitely doing the job on them. That feels a decent fish, that. I think that's one of the carp. Oh yes. Ooh. It's a nice fish, that is. That's a proper old Moorlands Farm unit, that one. Here's luck. Oh yeah, that's a nice fish, that is, look. Nailed. Oh, on the pink wafter, that one. Let's just show you him. Keep still, boy. I'm going to put you back. Don't worry about it. Oh, man. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. There we go. Absolute cracker on the PVA method. What about that then? We go again. Wow. I've literally just chucked that a foot further to the right. And it's another probably, I don't know, 50 seconds to a minute bite. So, if that doesn't show you how effective, oh, big old F1, the PVA method is, I don't think anything will. We've caught an absolute boatload of fish, super quick bites, all quality fish. We've had a few just with normal pellets, we've had a little run with wafters, but that smart liquid has definitely got us a couple of pulls as well. But I think the biggest thing I've learned from today is moving spots. Don't keep chucking it down the same hole. Don't be afraid to roam around your peg a little bit and nick 2 or 3 fish off each little spot before you move again and have another great run. So I'm going to sign off on that one. That's a beautiful fish, that. And there you are, look, he's even got the pink wafter, middle of the bottom lip. What more do you want? What a day.